allows, and recording press conferences on cell phones or video cameras is prohibited. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're now joined by Vanderbilt student athletes Tyler Nickel and Tyler Tanner and head coach Mark Byington. Once again, we'll start with an opening statement from Coach, take questions for our student athletes so we can get them back to the locker room, then we'll get to questions for Coach.
The hardest thing when you're in a tournament like this is there's a side of it with hurt and dejection, and you put everything into it, and we were a play away, an inch away from being in the Sweet 16. And it's going to take a while for us to get over, but I think there's going to be a point that we're going to look back and think of the unbelievable journey this season's been, how great these guys were to coach, how great these guys were for Vanderbilt, the memories they made along the way. But this one hurts. We felt like we were good enough to make a run, and there's whatever you want to say, 20 or 30 plays, and if one of them is different, the outcome's different. And so that's hard for us. And the harder thing is this was such a great group. I mean, unbelievable group to coach, to be around every single day. And we started this thing in June. And every single day, we didn't want it to end. And I know they didn't want it to end. That's the way they played today. They competed. They played the right way. You got to dare to be great. And unfortunately, when you're competing at the highest level, sometimes there's the side of it that you got to risk. You got to risk putting yourself on the line, putting yourself in this situation, and you got to risk the self that you could be on the losing end. But these guys competed in an unbelievable way, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open it up for questions for our student athletes. We'll go back row on the right.
Justice Rodicare and you, for Tyler Nickel, in the second half, you had 4 threes. What allowed you to get open, free yourself up, and start hunting your shot a lot more and find some of those threes to fall?
Yeah, I mean, it's just my teammates looking for me. The way they play defense, you got to feel behind the drive, and we started doing it in the second half and got some shots to fall.
We'll go fourth row and then third.
Tyler Tanner, did you feel like you'd made that last shot? Just talk about the emotions of everything that went on in this game and kind of what you're feeling after watching that not go in, similar to kind of how it was against Missouri.
Yeah, it hurts pretty bad being that close, especially a hard-fought game. It was electric the whole time through. Big crowd presence, and yeah, it hurts that the season's over. Yeah.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN, for both of you guys. You just mentioned the crowd. What was it like playing in this atmosphere? Have you ever played in anything similar to this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like most away games in the SEC are pretty similar, but I mean, never had a neutral site game as it ever really felt like that. But that's shout out to their fans. They travel well. They support their team, but they're actually. I thought it made the environment really fun to play in. So
we'll go second row here on the right.
Shiru from Bilibili, China. My question is for Tyler Tanner. You had a huge impact on defense, and tonight, do you go into games with a target number of steals, or what's the secret behind your quick hands?
Yeah, a lot of it is instinctual that I've been using to make me better since I was a kid. And today we thought ball pressure was going to be a big part of the game, and it helped us out a lot with the shooter that they have in number 21 and covering up some of the mistakes that we make behind the ball. The coaches were big on ball pressure, and I just wanted to go execute that.
Go third row on the left.
Coach Sean Callahan with Husker Online. I'm curious, what film in the Big Ten did you really watch on Nebraska to kind of build your plan on?
Come back to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for our student athletes? We'll release them back to the locker room. We'll go one more here on the back row.
And just sort of carrying you for Tyler Tanner, you finished the game with 27 points. Nebraska tried to mix up a bunch of defensive coverages in your face. How did you approach that, and how were you able to break that down, find shots for your teammates, but find shots for yourself as well to fall?
Yeah, we watched a good amount of film on the weak parts of their defense and where they would over-rotate and where I would be able to try to attack more as they try baseline and have a lot of help if you go baseline. So more of it was the seam drives and middle drives. And that was just the coaches telling me the plan and trying to execute it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it very much. We'll go back to Sean here on the third row.
And with Husker Online, I'm curious, what Big Ten tapes did you really study on the teams that had success against Nebraska, and kind of how did you come up with the plan to really be so aggressive and kind of get a feel for how the game was going to be officiating to kind of develop how you wanted to defend them?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the game was officiated fairly. It's two physical teams, and it's sometimes hard. There was a call or two at the end that I thought were a little bit out of character, but I thought they did a good job. The film that we studied is obviously you're studying the most recent. We didn't spend a lot of time on the Troy film, but we watched Purdue from the Big Ten tournament, really analyzed that. And then the main one that we tried to replicate was their game at UCLA. I thought UCLA did a good job, especially on the defensive end. And, and then we also watched the Iowa game. That's kind of the main three. They're hard to score against. And, I've gone against a lot of defenses, and I think I've coached 13 years as a head coach and whatever's assistant. That's a unique, really, really good defense. And early on, we kind of had trouble finding some gaps, and I thought we did a great job in the second half of finding some creases in there and be able to make plays. And the odd thing is we're a great free throw shooting team, and tonight we weren't, and we needed one or two more. And we missed two box outs at the end of the game that we did a great job boxing out, and we missed two box outs at the end of the game. And so this is going to take a long time, for myself and this team to get over, because we know we're a good team, and we got beat by a good team. That's a really good team, and that's one of the best environments or toughest environments that I've ever coached in. It's, the fans were incredible for them, incredibly supportive and loud, and I thought our guys got down maybe 10 in the first half, but they've never really changed their belief. And then we, like I said, we're a play away from being in the Sweet 16, so that's hard.
Go back row on the right.
Bobby Hensling, KRNU Sports. Coach, what changed in the second half? 10 threes in the second half compared to just 10 made field goals in the first half. What was said at halftime that allowed for your guys to open up from long range and be able to knock down shots? Yeah,
we watched we did miss probably 3 or 4 open threes in the first half. That would have helped. And, there were some good opportunities there. But what we did is we watched film at halftime, and we showed the guys the looks. And sometimes it's hard to see, but I could tell they were locked in at halftime and saw the different opportunities that we can get. And it was more so just getting to the paint and finding movement after that. In the first half, we were shooting against contested shots against big bodies, and it wasn't good looks. And then the second half, we found much better looks.
We go fourth row on the right.
Yeah, Mark, you expect a tough game in the second round of the tournament, but I don't think too many teams have had to deal with an atmosphere like that. How do you rationalize that? Do you just look at it as, you're just unlucky, or were you underseeded? How do you take that?
Yeah, that's probably a lot me might think about it, and when you play in an environment like this, I know it had to be incredible on TV. It was an incredible game. It sucks we were on the side we were on. But, a high-level game, and I'm sure the crowd lifted them up and had them play. They played so hard. But second guess where you're put or your seating and all these other things, you know, it just adds to the list of things that you're kind of sitting there thinking, all right, I just want one play back, and we win the game in this environment, and that'd have been even more rewarding. And so, you know, it's hard when you felt like you were that close to winning and didn't.
We have time for one more on the back row.
Yeah, Coach Justice Rhodey, KRNU Sports. I wanted you to talk a little bit about overall construction of this year's team, the internal development of Tyler Tanner, the way that you were able to get Tyler Nickel as a transfer to play at a high level after another year in your program, A.K. Okereke transferring in, Devin McLaughlin. Just the impact of some of these guys. How proud of you are your program, the way that you guys run it, and the way that you guys were able to get so much production out of your team this year?
Yeah, I mean, this team's going to be remembered for a long time in Nashville and Vanderbilt and the things they've done. It's an incredible team. And, you know, maybe they weren't the most high-profile players in the portal, but it was the right guys. And you could see why I'm so proud of them, why I love them so much. I mean, the way they played tonight. It's they care about each other. They care about winning. They care about the right things. And there is a lot of hurt in that locker room right now because they do care. They did not want it to end. They love each other, and that's not in every locker room. And so some of the things you can kind of pick out, whether they score or make threes or whatever else, it's more so just the love and care that they have for each other, the fact they really want to win, and they're about the right things. And so I'm really going to miss this group. I'm really, really going to miss this group.
Thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference